Good Monday morning to you. 9 o'clock here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal, back in the hot seat after a couple of weeks of Olympics, and our schedules got all different. We switched it up, but hey, you know, we're back, and happy to be back here in the morning with you on Live Impact News. All right, so let's start with our headlines, the things you are needing to know today and what we're covering as well. First of all, Justin Brigham is set to make a court appearance this morning. He, of course, is the suspected child molester out of Stanley County, and he will be back in Stanley County Court. Our Jesse Pierre will be there as well, covering that hearing and trial. He is the former co-owner of Sycamore Brewing out of South End, which has since seen a lot of negative fallout, including the business itself. North Carolina man is killed at Mar-a-Lago, right outside of the Mar-a-Lago property, or on property, I should say, for President Trump. We are going to get an update on that as well from NBC News. And we're just learning this morning, town of Jefferson in Ashe County is dealing with a water shortage. So that means it's stage 4 of their emergency water shortage response that is now in effect. They're asking folks to reduce their water consumption by 25% immediately. All customers to use that 25% less, and all potable water is banned except to protect public health and safety. So we will be looking at that. And speaking of Ashe County schools closed today. It is a snow day, as well as Watauga County and Avery County. Both Watauga and Avery counties are on a remote learning day due to snow, ice, wintry mix, what have you. I got to go to the professional for this one. Meteorologist Majestic Storm is in the Live Impact studio, giving it to us here. Impact alert.
Yeah.
Up there in the mountain areas, right?
It's definitely impactful weather. We have snow. It's bitterly cold. It's a whole different story. It kind of just depends on where you are, which county you're waking up in. If you're in Mecklenburg County, it's absolutely gorgeous. Meanwhile, let's take you out to Blowing Rock. This is what our mountain friends are waking up to this morning. We have snow still coming down, very, very light snow, but it's that drifting and blowing snow. That cold, piercing wind is really the big problematic part of this forecast, because it's making it feel dangerously cold, and then really it's just not helping with any of that visibility. Look at those roads. So I've been doing traffic this morning on WCNC, and I've been focusing on, of course, everywhere around our viewing area, but really focusing still on the mountains, because that's where travel is just not the best. Even if you're just traveling and you're good with traveling in the snow, it's that wind where you can feel it on your car, kind of within your steering wheel. That's what you need to be ready for. Meanwhile, at Ski Mountain, not even a good ski day. I mean, it is so cold up there. The higher up you go, the wind is going to be just unbearably cold. So if you work out in the elements, I know there's still a handful of you who don't have that option to just stay inside. Make sure you just limit your exposed skin. Like I mentioned, it just kind of depends on where you're waking up at. This is Lake Norman this morning, where it's beautiful. I've seen a handful of people all bundled up and out walking outside, getting their steps in, getting some morning sunlight in. You can see how pretty it is there. Even here in Dallas, not seeing any problems. Lots of sunshine to start off our new week. I mean, talk about a dramatic change in our weather pattern, going from low 80-degree temperatures on Friday to now our daytime highs struggling to rise above 40 degrees. So a big change. At least we do have that sunshine today here in the Queen City. Mountain snow, that's the big part of our weather story today. And then for the rest of us, just kind of sunny and cold. The early part of our work week, we will still be holding on to those below average temperatures. And then later on in the week, of course, temperatures will start to increase, but so will those overall rain chances. Here's our precipitation. You can see a lot of that blue still coming down. The blue is indicating some snow, really up to 2 feet of snow forecasted for parts of the New York area. So that is really quite problematic for them. A ton of snow piling up. Meanwhile, for us, we're just watching our mountain counties, but still for them, still going to be seeing that wind, the snow, some ice, and then just still how cold it's going to be. Not expecting any snow or rain or any precipitation today here in and around Charlotte, but notice this. These are the counties that are shaded in pink. This is issued by the National Weather Service. Winter storm warning. So that's an upgrade. First, it starts with that winter weather advisory, then it gets upgraded to that winter storm warning. They've issued this throughout the rest of the day today because we will have some accumulating snow. We're forecasting around 2 to 4 inches of snow for our mountain counties, and then some of those winds gusting over 40 miles an hour. So even if that snow is coming down very lightly, it's the wind that is really the driving force behind the low visibility and the piercingly cold temperatures. Let's get you into our futurecast. Here's 10 o'clock this morning. Nice clear skies for all of us, except if you're up in our mountain counties. Northeasterly winds making it feel even colder than our actual air temperature. So hopefully on Friday you didn't get too excited and put your winter coats away. I saw so many people walking around in tank tops and shorts, even flip-flops, because we topped off in the low 80s on Friday. It was so nice. I saw lots of people outside enjoying it. Now Monday morning rolls around and it's a whole different story. Here's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe the time you're picking up those kids. Still overall a cold day, still light snowfall continuing to fall up in the high country. You can see it still shaded in that blue there. This is 9 o'clock tonight. And then overnight tonight and into our Tuesday, conditions will get better. It's going to be another beautiful day tomorrow, but overall just staying pretty cold. Now for the mountains, Here's a look at your forecast throughout the rest of the day. Again, I keep on mentioning the wind because by about 10 o'clock this morning, 15 degrees for your air temperature, but you factor in the wind and it's going to feel like you're below zero. So that's why I said really limit your any exposed skin. You don't want that, and make sure you're just prepared for this cold. I hope your house is already winterized by this point, but those are things that you need to keep in mind, especially if you have any outdoor animals. It's probably been pretty nice for them the last couple of days with mild conditions, but today it's very, very cold. And then as we're looking at the Charlotte metro area, a whole lot of sunshine to look forward to today. High temperatures only rising into the low 40s, still feeling like we're in the 30s though. Clear skies over the beautiful Queen City. It is so gorgeous outside today. Current temperatures 30 degrees here in Charlotte. So looking over towards Morganton, 29, 16 degrees up in Jefferson. And then once we're looking at our wind chill, remember our wind chill is what it actually feels like on your skin. So the combination of our air temperature added in with the wind feels like it's -2 in Jefferson, and you can see areas shaded in purple there, just indicating how cold it is up in the mountain counties. Feels like it's only 24 here in Charlotte, so talk about a huge change. Yesterday it was so windy, but it was still pretty. We topped off at 55 degrees. Today we're only forecasting 42, but we will have sunny skies for the next several days. Let's take you out to the mountains because now we're just talking about high temperatures. 20 degrees in Banner Elk, that is your high. 22 degrees there in Blowing Rock. Fleetwood, you'll be checking in at 24 this afternoon. And then once we're looking across the foothills, mainly mid to upper 30s, low 40s. 38 in Morganton. I was out towards that area yesterday and it was so windy it makes it feel so much colder even when you have the warmth at the sunshine. 42 in Gastonia as well as Shelby, and 42 again will be our high here in Charlotte. As we're looking south across Piedmont, we're seeing 47 there in Chesterfield and 45 in Rockingham. The wind is the driving force really behind that chilly air out there today. It's pulling in from the northwest, so that's going to pull in that cold air, just kind of opens up the door for that to come in, and our temperatures respond to that. Then once you add in these winds, especially up there towards the high country, gusting up to 40 miles an hour, 45 even, yeah, it's going to make it feel like you're below zero. It's going to make for reduced visibility. And also if you have things that might blow away or get damaged, make sure it's all secure because those winds will hold steady today. You will be under winter storm warnings until the end of the day today, so for several more hours. Let's talk about those feel-like temperatures. So sub-zero feel-like temperatures in the mountains, so feeling like you're below zero for multiple hours. Meanwhile, in Charlotte, it's going to feel like we're in the 20s for the first half of our morning. By 3 o'clock, it's going to feel like we're at 34 degrees. So overall, kind of a day where we're struggling with our temperatures overall. If you're looking for a little more warmth, which I think we'll all be ready for, we do have some of that in our 10-day forecast. Really, I think by about Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we start to see really nice improvements. 71 degrees returning on Sunday, but even Saturday not looking too bad. The reason I didn't mention Thursday is because Thursday will be our day where it is going to feel warmer, but we do have another round of rain on the way. So multiple days of dry conditions here in Charlotte. I would say Thursday, be ready for rain, some lingering impacts on Friday, and then make some plans outside this weekend. It seems like it's going to be a really pretty weekend. I know it's only Monday, but I know a lot of you like to make those plans, always have something to look forward to.
That's right.
Here is our futurecast as we're looking at Thursday. This is 6 o'clock in the morning, so that's that rain. If you're somebody who likes to wake up, you like to get outside, get your fresh air in, you like to go for a morning time walk, Thursday is going to be your rainy morning. Even models are showing that a lot of our day on Thursday could provide us some rain. And remember, we give you updates with our drought monitor every Thursday, and we've been telling you over the last couple of weeks how dry it is. And yes, we need the rain, even though I know many of you across Carolinas don't love the rain. We need it in order for our spring to be so green and beautiful. So Thursday will be the day that we'll be watching for our next round of widespread rain. Here's a Jury Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Sunny skies today, a high of only 42. And if you're new to the area, And you thought those 80s were the norm on Friday. They're not. They happen here and there, but rarely in the month of February. And low 40s, that's not the norm either. Where we should be is 59 degrees, so almost 60 is where we should be for the later half of February. Overnight lows tonight still getting bitterly cold, 24 degrees. Add on a little wind, it's going to feel even colder than that, so make sure those kids are bundled on up as you send them off to the school bus stop tomorrow. Highs tomorrow not even touching 50, but then by the middle to end of our work week, temperatures will start to be a little bit more bearable, a little more cloud coverage. Thursday's our rainy day, and then this upcoming weekend, look at that, 66 degrees, sunny skies on Saturday. Sunday, low 70s return with sunshine as well.
Look at that. All right, we just need to get through today. At least we're not looking at this.
Let's see it.
This is Atlantic City.
Brr.
And having to deal with that. That is a live picture right now from one of our partner stations, our NBC affiliates in Atlantic City. Whew, driving through that. I know some of our mountain areas need to deal with that as well. But
yeah, it's like I like the snow so much, but I like it during kind of the holiday season, and then once we get teased with nice weather, it's like, all right, time to move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, that
done.
tease with the 80s was so sweet.
It was so nice.
What happened?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Who made Mother Nature mad? Somebody did.
Did we?
Somebody. I don't know
was.
who did. I didn't say you. Somebody did.
All right, majestic storm. So you did go up to the mountains though over the
I
weekend.
did. It was nice.
It was
really
nice?
pretty. Yeah.
Okay.
It got windy yesterday, and when
Yeah,
you're
it
high
was
up
windy.
there,
Yes.
oh, those winds are so strong
Yeah.
and cold, where it almost like takes your breath away. You're like, whew.
Yeah.
Brr.
Too bad they're getting all that snow, but the lifts are closed.
Yes.
Oh, well, what are you going to do? Wait it out.
There you
Wait
go.
it out. All right, and enjoy the snow day as well for our friends up there. We're going to take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll be right back. Time right now is 9:16 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We are following some breaking news out of Mexico. You're looking at a live picture right now of a press conference that's happening in Spanish, which is why we're not going to listen in. But what happened over the weekend is that armed forces, in conjunction, a partnership with U.S., due to some intelligence, arrested and ended up with the leader of a major drug cartel known as El Mencho, died over the weekend with his capture. And so with that, his death has now been met with a lot of reaction. The president of Mexico holding a press conference right now. As you can see, this is out of Mexico City. As a result, there are plenty of Americans in lockdown in Jalisco's capital, Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta included in that list. So we are trying to learn more information here with several Mexican states canceling school as well. Governments, local governments there also warning citizens to stay inside as plenty of violence has erupted over the weekend, and a lot of local areas, including the tourist heavy laden Puerto Vallarta, is on lockdown. So something we'll be following here on Live Impact News. We are also following a trial out of Georgia. This is I should say, the father of Gray, Colin Gray, is on trial, and a landmark situation. This is the second week of the trial because he is the father of the accused shooter that happened, that shot 4 people and killed 4 people and wounded several others back in 2024 at his school. Colin Gray on trial as he ended up giving his son, the accused shooter, a gun about 5 months prior to the shooting. So let's go ahead and listen into this trial. Is out of Barrow County, Georgia, on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Y'all moved after then, up until y'all moved to Jackson County.
Okay. There's a lot. So we sold our farm in Statham in 2018. We moved into a rental home in Gainesville. We were there, and each of these rental homes that we were in less than a year. Many of them less than 6 months. So we moved to a rental home in Gainesville. It was on Lake Lanier. A couple of months later, we moved from that rental home into a second rental home. It was in Cumming, Georgia. We were there for, like I said, less than a year. At that point, in 2020, right at the beginning of 2020 is when we moved to Ben Hill County. That was during COVID. We were there for right at a year, at which point we moved back up to Jackson County. And the first place that we lived at was Traditions. We were there for, again, it was less than a year, maybe it was close to a year. After we left there, we actually moved into a rental Airbnb. That because it was a sudden move, we had to find somewhere to live really quick. That was in Lawrenceville. We were there for maybe 2 months, and then we moved to a second Airbnb that was up in, I think technically it was Pendergrass was the address. And after that, we were there for maybe a month. At that point, we ended up at the house where Colin and Colt lived after me and the 2 younger children moved back to Fitzgerald.
Okay. And I will kind of get back into some of the dates
Sure.
as we go through. But you mentioned that you moved to Ben Hill around COVID, so that would have been March
Yes.
of 2020.
We moved in January of 2020 because I started a new job at like the first or second week of January.
Okay. And at that time, were you working, and what was the defendant doing?
Colin was just staying home.
Okay. And while y'all were, I guess let's kind of talk about where is Ben Hill and why y'all moved there.
Okay, so Ben Hill is where I was born and raised. It is about 3.5, 4 hours south of Atlanta, directly south down I-75. It's a fairly rural town. My mom was also born and raised in Fitzgerald, Ben Hill County. So the first time that we ended up going to Ben Hill County during COVID, we moved because, for one, we were having financial issues. Hence, while we were moving, we had to move several times. And then also, Colin was having issues with his back. So we wanted to move to hopefully get some support from my family. And we moved into my late grandmother's home. When my mom's mom passed away, she left her home to basically to all of us grandkids to use as we saw fit. So we were going to move because we wouldn't have a mortgage and we could try to save some money and get back on the right path. And that would also allow Colin to get his back healed, so he wouldn't have to work.
So y'all moved to Ben Hill right before COVID. I want to fast forward to Colt's 6th grade year, which would have been the fall of 2021.
Okay.
At that time, were they still doing digital learning for a period of time?
Yes.
Was Colt attending classes from home in September of 2021?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, all three of them were.
Around September 10th of 2021, did the school contact you about something Colt had done while doing digital learning?
Yes, they did.
And how did they contact you?
The school counselor, she called me on the phone and said that basically she wanted to give me a heads up that they were sending some resource officers to the house. She told me basically what it was in regards to, and that they wanted to talk to me or Colt's dad, and they wanted to speak with Colt as well.
Okay. And when the school resource officers arrived at your house, what did you learn about what Colt had done?
Well, they basically reiterated what the guidance counselor had already told me on the phone, which was that Colt had basically found a way around the school's firewall and security software so that he could get on the internet and basically look up whatever he wanted to look up. And then they told me that he had researched, he had typed into the search bar how to kill my dad.
Okay. And at that time, did you tell the defendant about that search?
No.
Did you later tell him?
I did.
Okay. And do you remember around when you told him?
Not really, but it was several months later.
Did the Department of Family and Child Services become involved with your family around that same time of that search? I guess within a couple of months of that.
I think so. We moved not long after that is when we relocated back up to Traditions.
Okay. Before y'all relocated to Traditions, do you remember someone making an anonymous report to defects?
Yes.
And was it related to you slapping Colt?
Yes.
At that point, did defects start doing some home visits with y'all?
They did. They did the home visits, and then at that time they wanted to do counseling, some type of counseling, and they ended up having a guy come to the house to do the counseling. And he kind of put us on a rotating schedule. Each week he would come, and 1 week he would talk to me, next week he would talk to Colin, next week he would talk to Cole. And I think by the time we had to finish because we were moving, I think we each had met with him at least twice.
Okay.
Me, Colin, and Cole.
So y'all moved in the middle of this counseling?
Yes.
And so after about 2 sessions,
Mhm.
that is when y'all went to Traditions?
Yes.
Would that have been around November or October or November of 2021?
Yes.
Okay.
And when we moved, DFACS basically closed the open case because, well, for one, they didn't find any evidence of any sort of abuse or neglect or anything like that. And then we were also moving, so they just went ahead and closed the case out.
So you would have been outside their jurisdiction once y'all
Yes.
moved?
Yes.
And you mentioned Traditions. What county is that in?
That's Jackson.
Do you remember what school the kids were in when y'all moved to Traditions?
They were in, I think they were in Jackson Middle School, I think. Jackson.
West Jackson? Does that
West
sound familiar?
Jackson, yes.
Okay.
It was about a mile from our house, so.
And so Colt would have still been in 6th grade when y'all moved. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier that you had to make a quick move from Traditions. And that would that have been around August of 2022?
That sounds about right, yeah.
And why was it a quick move?
We got evicted.
And is that when y'all went to a few Airbnbs like you mentioned?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then eventually you moved to Jefferson sometime kind of in that fall of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did the kids start going to school then?
Oh gosh. It was, I want to say it was, I don't want to say the wrong thing.
And does Jefferson City Schools sound familiar?
Yes, absolutely. That was it.
Okay.
But we were excited because Jefferson schools are known to be really, really good schools.
At that point, sometime around Halloween of 2022, was another defects report made.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that
Yes.
report about?
That report was, again, ended up being completely unfounded. And one of our neighbors had reported general neglect of our kids. She said that they were being sent to school dirty.
9:30 is the time. We will get back to the mother of the accused shooter there from the Colin Gray trial out of Georgia in just 2 minutes. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 9:33 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, I'm Jane Monreal. We'll get you back out to Georgia, where we continue to follow the trial now for Colin Gray, the father of the accused shooter Colt Gray in a shooting that killed 4 people back in 2024. The mother of Colt Gray is now on the stand with her testimony. Let's listen in on Live Impact News.
So, at any point, did he, or how often did he visit you in Fitzgerald, or did you visit Colt and the defendant in Jefferson in that time frame where they were living alone?
I think Colin visited us in Fitzgerald twice, and I drove Coley up to visit them maybe 3 or 4 times. It was right towards the end.
While Colt was going to Jefferson Middle School for the 7th grade year, were you aware of any of the issues he was having at the middle school?
At some point, I was made aware of them. At the time that they took place, I was generally not aware of anything that was going on.
And then, were you aware that Jackson County Sheriff's Office came out to the defendant's residence and wanted to talk to Colt about threatening to shoot up a school?
I had no idea that that happened until it came out in the media a year ago.
So at this time, you said you weren't aware until after everything happened. At this time, I'm going to display a text message from State Exhibit 150. Which is your cell phone extraction, and it's from September 5th of 2024. Can we do the first one?
What was the exhibit number?
It's 159. Marcy's cell phone extraction. So on September 5th, you said, "What the heck is this? I keep reading that the FBI investigated Colt last May about making online threats about a school shooting. It says they talked to you too." Is that the text message you sent to the defendant?
Yes.
Okay, and then he responded, "I told you about that, and so did he. Someone in a chat room said it, not Colt. I had no idea what the chat room even was. More importantly, why do you have an open warrant?" Was that his response?
Yes, that was his response.
Okay, and had either of them told you about it?
No.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to fast forward to August of 2023, a couple of months after the May incident with Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Did Colt move back in with you in Ben Hill?
Yeah. When was the month you said?
I have August of 2023.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And was it just Colt or the defendant come too?
I met the defendant off of I-75 to pick up Colt.
Okay. And why did he come and live with you?
Because, well, he had called several times leading up to that, wanting to come and live with me because he said he just couldn't.
Objection is the hearsay.
He goes to explain why he was moving to live with her and go to explain conduct and not for the truth of the matter asserted, not to explain. And I don't know exactly what she's going to say, but I assume she's going to explain why Colt wanted to move and also why the defendant allowed it to happen. Of course, if it's the defendant's statement, then it would be admissible.
All right. I'm going to have to hear what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just step out.
All right, we continue to follow that trial out of Georgia, that Barrow County. This is the trial for Colt Gray, the father of the accused shooter in a mass shooting that happened at his school in 2024. The father accused because he gave his son the gun that ended up killing 4 people and wounding several others. So a landmark trial as a parent held criminally responsible for the murders of several people. We'll continue to follow that here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll be right back. Here on Live Impact News, we were gathering some snow-related content, and we think that we might have it bad here, that it's getting cold again. Sure, it is, right? But not compared to Philly. Look at this. Ooh. There's a live picture right now from a city of brotherly love. It looks like a ghost town.
It's a ghost town. Like no one's out.
Because no one wants to be out in that right now. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you have a good snow day, but hard to drive in, with the wind. Oh, that wind.
Yeah, the wind's whipping.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's Philadelphia. This is Massachusetts, right? Probably the parking lot of our content partner, our NBC affiliate. from their equivalent of a
so.
storm tracker, whatever. But anyway, again, blowing snow, and it is a nor'easter that they're dealing with there. And then
I don't know where this is.
but it's
Reuters just popped this up.
pretty.
It looks pretty.
Oh,
I'm
look at
I'm
that
gonna assume
snow.
it's northeast, but we actually
Yeah,
don't know where this
for
is.
sure.
But they look like they're struggling.
Yeah, that snowblower, you're gonna
Yeah, you're gonna be
have a good time with
Yeah.
that, I'm sure. Okay, so it is pretty if you can stay in the comfort of a nice, warm, toasty home with a good book, maybe a little fireplace burning, and
Look
not
at
having
that
to go to
snow on
work.
on that tree on the left side of the screen. That's
Yeah.
a lot of. That's weighing that thing down. Pretty
It is. I was
good.
going to say, and if you have your power.
Right.
Right, because that's a thing
That's a
here
thing.
that we're always concerned about is ice and snow weighing down power lines and making sure that is all clear and good to go. So you have the power to heat up your home. So our producer, one of our other producers, James Brierton, you know him, his aunt, who's also been on the program here on Live Impact News before, she sent this video to James just this morning.
Just this morning.
Just this morning. So she is in Long Island, New York. All of our New Yorker friends, this is a shout out to you from James's aunt.
Good morning, James. It's Aunt Joan reporting in from Kings Park, New York, which of course is here on Long Island, where any snow you're seeing is really blowing snow. I don't think it's falling from anywhere but the trees on the roof. So the snow has pretty much stopped, but the winds have picked up. Probably here with about 18 inches thus far. But if you can see behind me, I just want to give a shout out to the town of Smithtown, who has been out all night in the most treacherous conditions, plowing the streets here at my mother's home. So the streets are passable thanks to the town of Smithtown, and hopefully will be passable here in a minute or two as I clear the walkway, just for emergency purposes. But take a look. It's really quite something. So far, the blizzard of 2026 on Long Island. More soon.
More soon.
More soon, she
she
says.
says.
Do you
And
see? I mean,
poor
the
thing.
walkway up to the house.
Yeah, and having just
And
to
the-
clear it,
And the walls of snow.
walls of snow like a goalpost high. Oh dear. Well, thank your aunt James for sending us that video, or for
Yes.
sending the video to you and sending it to us, giving us a picture of what it's like there and why a lot of people from the Northeast end up moving down
They end
here.
up down here.
Oh, that's the way it goes. But we feel for you.
We feel for you.
We feel for you.
I will
Shaka
take
Khan
back
would
some
say.
of my complaints on the cold.
Yeah, I'll take mine back.
I guess
It could be worse.
It could be worse.
It could be worse. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the Colin Gray trial, the man accused of killing 4 people at a school that his son went to. And actually, it was the son who is the accused actual shooter. This being a landmark trial because it is the father who is facing criminal charges for being responsible for giving the gun to his son. The mother of the accused shooter, Colt Gray, is on the stand right now. We've been listening to her testimony. Let's continue to listen in Live Impact News.
Hill, was Colt supposed to be in the 8th grade?
Yes.
Okay. And did you enroll him in school that August?
So he was only with me for about a month. When I picked him up, I told he wanted to try online school. And so I started the process of enrolling him in online school. His sister then she wanted to do online school too. She was already enrolled and attending school in Ben Hill County with her little brother. But I started enrolling her as well. Again, Colt was only with me for about a month, so he never got the opportunity to start the online school.
What was Colt's behavior like in Ben Hill?
Cole's behavior was, was alarming. It was very different from the Colt that I remembered, that I had left with his dad when we left in 2022. He had a lot of anger inside, and he was very aggressive and unpredictable. So much so that I ended up relocating his little sister across town to my parents' house because I didn't want to leave her there alone with him. And then his little brother basically just never left my side. I just had, he was with me wherever I went when he wasn't in school. But Colt, he damaged a lot of things while he was there. Again, he was just, you could tell that he had a lot of anger and just yuck inside of him.
You said he damaged a lot of stuff. What kind of stuff did he damage?
All of the flat screen TVs that I had in the house. He broke several windows. He would take knives and make cuts on different things like walls and the leather in my car, the leather seats, just kind of like random damage. He wrote on a bunch of stuff, walls and that sort of thing.
And on October 3rd, did your dad actually contact the police because of something Colt had damaged?
Yes.
What had he damaged on October 3rd?
I think that was when he broke, the first time he broke a window. He had broken a window because from slamming the door really, really hard. It's an old house, and so the windows are old. And if you're not careful, you slam the door hard enough and it'll shatter a window. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And then once that happened, I kept fixing it by basically taping it up and putting a piece of cardboard over it until we could get someone to come and professionally fix the window. And he kept punching through the cardboard. As soon as I'd fix it, he'd punch through it again. And I think it was the window was the actual reason why he called the police that one day.
And did the defendant come and get, or did Colt go and live with the defendant immediately after that?
Immediately after the second time, so my dad actually called the police twice, or went by to see the police twice. The second time, they came, and each time they came, I would basically ask them, please don't take him to jail. I don't want anything on his record. Can you just talk to him? Which they did. They actually offered to stand there and supervise while I spanked him or some like physical punishment. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. He was bigger than I was at the time. I just want you to talk to him and, just hopefully talk some sense into him. Well, after the second time it happened, he immediately got on the cell phone with his dad.
And just related to what the
Yes.
defendant said, not what Colt said.
Yep. He had the phone on speakerphone, so I could hear, because I didn't have my phone at that point. I'm not sure where it was, but I said, let me talk to your dad. And so he didn't want to give me his phone, so he put it on speakerphone so I could speak to Colin on speakerphone on Cole's phone. And I had not been communicating with Colin at all since he dropped Cole off. Communication basically was non-existent, so he didn't know anything about what Cole had been doing or his behavior. And I immediately started trying to explain to Colin what had been going on, and I couldn't get any words in edgewise before he immediately wanted to say, well, "Why are you doing this to our son? Why are you calling the police on our son? Why would you do this?" And it took him, less than 5 minutes to have Cole convinced that I was the one calling the police. I was trying to get him sent, to juvenile detention. And once he had him convinced of that, Cole refused to talk to me. He just wanted to go back with his dad.
And when did he leave?
I think he left like the next day after that second time the police were called.
While you were in Ben Hill County with Colt, had you scheduled some counseling for him?
Yes.
Is that at the...
Healing Connections
Okay.
was the place. But he never made it because he went back with his dad.
So his first counseling session supposed to take place after he left?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And did Coley Jr. and Jenny stay with you in Ben Hill at that point?
Yes, at that point, yes, they did.
When the defendant took Colt home or met, I guess, or met you or your mom halfway, where did they go to live at that point?
They were still living at that same house.
In Bear County?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or no.
And
They were at the Barrow County house.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
We are in October of 2023.
Yes, they were definitely in Barrow County.
Okay. And so again, Colt should have been in the 8th grade. Did the defendant enroll him in the 8th grade in Barrow County?
No.
Did he attend any schools in the 8th grade?
No.
Now, when Colt went back to Barrow County and you were still in Ben Hill with Coley and Jenny, did you still have an open defects case?
Yes. My case manager had told me that the next time she saw me, she was going to close the case because over the prior year, I had been doing everything they wanted me to do. I had, they were drug testing me the whole year long, hair follicle, urine tests, and I had been doing everything I was supposed to do.
What happened at that next visit where they were supposed to close the case?
So instead of closing the case, they gave me, someone had called and made an anonymous report, and they drug tested me.
And did you pass or fail that test?
I failed that test.
When you failed the drug test, what happened?
When I failed the drug test, I guess it's the Saturday after my case manager got the results. She showed up. Actually, me and Jenny and Coley were spending the night at my parents' house because my parents, at that point in time, had gone on a trip to Virginia. And we would do that a lot, just spend the night at my parents' house because it was just kind of a fun thing to get out of the house, our house. And so we were there, and my case manager, Tamika Mitchum, showed up at their front door with Colin and Colt to basically tell me I had failed the drug test, and she was sending Jenny and Coley to live with their dad.
And at that point, did you have custody of any of your children?
Well, it wasn't a custody case at that time. They were just physically going to stay with their dad. It had not gone to the phase of addressing custody, with a judge or anything like that.
I guess none of them were living with you, is that correct?
That's correct.
And did the defendant have kind of authority over them at that point?
Yes.
And were they all living in Bear County at the Harrison Mill address?
Yes.
After you failed that drug test, did things go downhill for you?
Big time.
Tell us what happened.
Well, after the initial devastation of having them taken and sent with their dad, I, for one, was faced with the reality that Jeannie and Coley were now living in the house with their dad, where things were horrific, and there was nothing I could do about it. So I started trying to reach out to Colin to set up visitations, because the case manager said that I was entitled to have as many supervised visitations.
We're going to object to the hearsay as to what the case manager told her.
I think I understand your latest sustaining of the objection about hearsay related to explain conduct, but this is squarely within that. She is trying to set up visitation because she was told she was allowed to have visitation. So I do believe that fits within that exception.
I believe our harm is also very low, where the caseworker already testified to that fact.
I don't think the caseworker testified exactly to what she is saying.
I believe she testified that she was allowed to have visitation, so I think she testified that visitation was up to the defendant, not that she had an absolute right to visitation. Visitation was at the right of the defendant.
I believe you're correct. Was she saying something different just then?
Yes.
I think we're splitting hairs. She wasn't prevented from seeing her children. So she could have visitation. She was allowed to have visitation. If it's up to the defendant, she's calling him to try to set that up. That's exactly what she's testifying to. Trying to act like she's saying something completely different is just not true. She is saying she's calling the defendant to set up the visitation because she was allowed to, and he is the one who has custody, so she has to go through him.
And this Mitchum testified that she was not entitled to visitation. Any visitation was to be done through the defendant based on his determination. Not that she had an absolute right to visitation.
That is a misinterpretation of what Ms. Mitchum testified to. She did not say she was not entitled to visitation. That is not what happened.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to remember what the DFACS worker, case manager testified to. I'm going to let the witness go ahead and answer.
So, I can rephrase.
No, he's overruled the objection. So,
Okay.
You were, I guess, where we're at.
There was no restrictions to me having visitation or seeing my children other than it needed to be supervised. She did say that I needed to schedule it with Colin. So I started reaching out immediately because, I wanted to see them as much as humanly possible. And it immediately became apparent, which I knew it would, that he was not going to communicate with me whatsoever. he had blocked my phone number, and I know that because I checked it the next time I saw him and had access to his phone. He basically refused to not only not let me see or speak to my kids, but he refused to speak to me himself. So my children were living somewhere where I knew was a nightmare for them, and now I can't get any sort of updates or any sort of contact with them. I tried to get my mother to reach out. She was met with the same obstacles. I reached out to Tamika, the case manager, asked her for her help, and the only thing she offered was transportation to see the kids. I told her, I don't need transportation, I need someone to facilitate some sort of communication between me and their father. And it just never happened. I couldn't get any help from anyone. At one point later in the month, I called in a wellness check with Barrow County just so I could have someone put their eyes on my children to make sure that they were still alive.
At 10:04 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, we're going to check out your weather with our Chris Mulcahy in the Live Impact studio. That's coming up after the break. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 10:06 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, one of the stories that we're covering, I just gave it away, in the Carolinas is weather, and we're dealing with a lot of the winter's back, especially in our mountain areas. It certainly feels cold here, but I know it's nothing like that nor'easter. That where your folks are from.
Yeah,
Chris, where your peeps.
I started complaining this morning, and then
Right.
I actually did an Instagram story where I was shivering, pumping my gas, and my way I was like, oh man, I have friends that are about to get 1 to 2 feet of snow, and there's been the craziest gusts. So my friend Luke sent this video. So actually, let's pivot. Let's go to weather 2. I had this looping.
Is this
so
it?
this is what's happening. I'm from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. So Cape Cod, it's a wonderful place during the summertime, but then everyone leaves and all my favorite restaurants close for most of the year. So I was one of the locals that actually lived there. But this video was sent in by my best friend Luke. That's why I put even my best friend Luke Dignan on there. He's a super big weather enthusiast, but he was saying the gusts were about 60 miles per hour at his house. But the crazy thing, Wellfleet, which is the far eastern side of Cape Cod, had a wind gust of 98 miles per hour. And our news director said, oh, that must be some sort of record. Well, it's not. Actually, the record is 111 miles per hour in Situate from the blizzard of 78, where truly the way that this is stacking up, this will be one of the worst of all time. And the first time that New York City has actually had a blizzard warning since March 2017. So it's been a little bit. So here's the video that I got from my friend Luke, and this is just the beginning. And actually, I first put this video in about 6 o'clock. Since then, he's already received another 6 inches. So it really just shows how substantial this is. Yeah, because there's already some totals up to about 1 to 2 feet of snow. I'm so happy I don't live there. Go all my Boston teams. Love my friends, but I'm gonna stay here. All right, so let's move on for the second most winter-like thing that we have, and that's the North Carolina mountains. So let's go to Weather 1. This is where we have a loop of a bunch of different cameras and things that are happening around town. For one, winter weather alerts are upon us until later on this evening. We've already had gusts up to 30 miles per hour here, and look at the difference. One camera faded out, but the left side shows 16 degrees around Boone, feeling like -3. Meanwhile, it's above freezing, but it feels like 23 here in the Charlotte area. So we're seeing some blue sky here, and this camera should have one to the left that look like this. Blowing rock. Well, things are blowing all over the place. You can see some substantial things. Sugar Mountain just dropped off. We're having a lot of these cameras.
We're done.
Yep, we're good.
We've had it.
You know what it's like.
Yep. You know what it is. Move on to a different camera. Banner Elk said the
Also
same
same
thing. All these were working when I put them in, but up to about another 1 to
Here we
2
go.
inches of snow
Boone
is going to be a possibility. Okay, there we go, Boone. Okay, see, Boone's all reliable. But check out these wind chills. Minus values. 1, 1, 2. And again, that's Futurecast snowfall showing just about 1 to 2 inches. So yeah, it's a really interesting setup. And plain and simple, we already got through last night, but blowing snow, gusty winds, lowering visibilities. It's not blizzard-like because you need winds at about 35 miles per hour for that to happen. But the winds yesterday gusted up to 43 miles per hour. And today I think they're going to be just as gusty. So Carlene, actually, let's go to the CPM. I'm going to skip over the winter stuff so you know what's going to happen there.
Pants.
Yes, so you probably be wondering about this. I got his permission. So there's always one that wears shorts like no matter what. And I know that it's going to be super cold. Now, I know in general, Cody watches the forecast, listens to it. But when Cody is wearing pants, this is one of our directors, you know it's cold. And he says it's been about a dozen times this year. It usually doesn't reach the double digits. So I call the CPM the Cody pants meter. Cody was wearing pants. That means it is going to be a cold, cold morning because we're into the lower 40s and then we have some of those freezing highs. Now, I want to take a closer look at the afternoon forecast. We only have a high of 42 degrees. That's right, only 42 degrees. And we will see some sunshine mixing in. But plain and simple, look at the blue numbers. 29, 31, 32, 33. So we're pretty much feeling around freezing unless you can avoid the wind, which is very tough to do. You couldn't do it yesterday, to the upper 20s through the afternoon. So it's actually kind of misleading when you look outside. You're like, oh, it's actually not too bad. No, it's not great. And this is a mean trick. I actually had a nice little realization. So I'm from New England, as I had just mentioned. I've been here 8 years now, roughly. And does anyone here who's lived here, do you think you have Carolina blood now, or do you still have some well, you've already said
I'm
South
born
Carolina.
and bred in
Yeah,
South
so you know
Carolina,
that.
So, yeah.
I'm better
Better?
than not better, but I've tolerated more than my usual
Okay.
Florida self.
Oh yeah, so you had to come up different, like because
Yeah.
I lived in Michigan before I came here, so I was used to daily snows, negative value wind chills. Well, I realized Carolina blood, we can tolerate the cold, but we don't like the drops.
No.
Like if we just do
Right.
the steady down, we're fine. We get accustomed very well. We can handle it. We're doing well. We were just in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and it's like, this is nothing. But you can't give us 83 and
then
bring us to
drop it
42.
down, right? Can't
That's
do
literally
that.
a half off sale. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. I loved what we had on Friday, which, by the way, we were mentioning 80 degrees. We had 83, which is the warmest February high of all time in Charlotte. So that's
Which you can give me all day, every day.
All day.
all right. So where do our highs go from here? So Carlene has this
High
up
temp?
next. High temperatures. Yep. 42 degrees today, 48, and then we have a nice little comeback to the lower 60s. Here's the day that stands out: 71 on Sunday. We're going to have a passing front that'll bring us back to the 50s all in all, but that's a nice little upward trend. This time of year, we now officially have an average high of 59 by the end of the month, which, by the way, is happening on, Saturday, I think is the last day of the month, so we're almost there. We'll have an average high of 60 degrees, so we're actually almost there. So we should be actually starting to average a lot more 60s compared to 50s and 40s, but at least over the next 10 days, the 40s are disappearing. But what about our lows? Our low temperatures are trending down into really the 20s one last time. So very similar to this morning. We dropped down to the mid-20s. We're going to do it one more time down to 24 degrees. And then up and down, starting to see a lot more of those 40s that are taking over. So that's the good news. Really, once we get past tonight, tomorrow morning, that's the last freezing low for a little bit. And it's typically this time of year that we're probably going to head into a nice little thing. Oh, nice, it's warmer again. We're fine. Then a sneaky freeze will have a comeback right as we're starting to grow more stuff. And lastly, I want to talk about the rain chances. So the rain chance, you can see this really big bell curve, this little spike. It stands out on Thursday. One of two scenarios. It's either going to be more of a Thursday night deal or more of a Thursday night to Friday. So that's kind of the uncertainty that we have here. That's our next best chance for rain, but really nothing too major. But again, put it in perspective, it is cold. At least it's sunny, and at least we don't have 1 to 2 feet of snow with gusts up to 70 miles per hour.
At least it's not like this.
This Philly.
Yeah. Okay. Philly's doing well, though. They treated the roads nicely there. Yeah, and see,
That's true. The road is nice.
Road
this,
is nice.
this system is
Nicer.
moving so fast, though. Really, the heart of the beast right now is over New England.
friend.
Yeah, my friend
Best
Luke.
friend Luke.
Yeah, actually, my friend Eric Falcone says, and it's like, I'm gonna send you the most ridiculous video of me out in the snow, and I was like, oh yeah, no, we'll show it. I'll ask my friends at the Impact Studio, and it's like, as long as it's family friendly, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
But no, plain and simple. Again, my friend Luke sent me this, and this is actually pretty tame compared to what it was. So yeah, I've been through many of these. There's the two worst snowstorms I can remember living up here: 36 inches and 40 inches.
Whoa.
Yeah, and one time my dog jumped off the deck and just disappeared, and he's a black dog. So we were out of school for over a week. So I know how these are. These are awful. And actually, there are thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that are already without power in Massachusetts alone.
We were talking about that because there was one picture we were looking at when the power lines were weighed down so heavily. Was that Massachusetts or New York?
That was the one that was the mystery camera.
Oh, the
that
mystery
they
cam.
popped up. And
We
were
assumed
like,
it was northeast somewhere.
We knew it was the northeast.
We had that this morning. It was like, where is this? We have no idea.
But they're stuck.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of this is a wetter snow, so then
Right.
that adds the weight almost like it's ice. So that's what,
Terrible.
No,
Yeah.
it's awful.
Yeah.
It's just
No,
it's plain
it
plain
is.
simple. And my heart breaks for all these people because not only are they dealing with now another historic snowstorm, they also were below 20 degrees for like a week. So yeah, this has been awful. Like literally the Hudson River froze over. So it just shows how bad this winter has been. We are complaining here because we finally got a snowstorm. We dropped down into the 20s, but
Right.
all you have to do is look to the north and
Yeah.
we're like, it's not
We're
that
okay.
bad. We're
We'll
okay.
Be okay. All right.
Who's
Take a deep
Fraba?
breath. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Whoosva. And we'll be keeping track of that. So Ash, Avery, Watauga, schools affected today, either remote or no school at all.
Can we talk about that real quick?
Talk about it.
Like, I feel so bad for these kids because back in the day, before the pandemic, you had a snow day.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, it's remote. And I understand why we have to do it, but I feel so bad. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh man, they have to go remote. Now sometimes it's just like, hey, you have homework and you do it during the day.
Yes.
But yeah, like technology is great, but I think this is the one disadvantage for those kids today.
Yeah. Now they need a full-on school day,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gonna have to tack it on in the summer. So you
So,
just
yeah.
want to
Comes
kind of let
around,
go.
but I don't know. There's just something magical about a snow day.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not a blizzard like what's happening up there.
True. All right. Chris Mulcahy, thank you.
Always
very
a
much.
pleasure.
Pleasure's ours. We'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now is 10:19 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Just want to let you know that we're following a story out of Mexico where a major drug lord was killed over the weekend. And since then, chaos has pretty much erupted in the second largest city, Guadalajara. The president of Mexico did just close out a press conference out of Mexico City talking about the fallout from that. And a lot of tourists, Americans and Canadians, are on lockdown, stuck, flights canceled in the region of Puerto Vallarta, which you probably know is a major tourist hub. So we will continue to follow that here on Live Impact News. We are lining up some experts as well as folks who might be stuck out there in the Jalisco region. If you are one of them and would be willing to talk to us here on Live Impact News, shoot us a line, drop a note here to our Live Impact studio or WCNC news desk, and we will get you here on the stream. We'd love to talk to you and get your perspective. In the meantime, let's get you back out to Georgia, where the trial is continuing for Colin Gray, the father of accused shooter Colt Gray. The on the stand right now is the mother of Colt Gray. And let's go ahead and continue to listen in on Live Impact News.
Actually, iPhone, FaceTimes, but video calls, was able to do those.
And then, did you ever get emails or anything from the defendant or your kids?
I did. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pull up what's previously been introduced into evidence as State Exhibit 111.13. Is that a poster that your family made for you?
It is.
Okay. And I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 209. Do you recognize that?
Yeah.
And what do you recognize that as?
This was an email from Colin to Mandy, who was basically the owner of Promise of Hope. But it was basically a letter that he had written to me, but he sent it through the email, Mandy's email.
And did he attach pictures of that poster to it?
Yes.
Okay. And was that email sent to you on May 13th of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that either Mother's Day or around Mother's Day?
Yes, ma'am.
You're all right. This time I'd like to introduce an evidence, State Exhibit 209, and publish to the jury.
No objection.
All right, 209's admitted.
All right, so the subject was Marcy's Mother's Day. It was sent on May 13th, 2024 at 12:15 from graycoley444@gmail.com. And it says, Mandy, thank you so much for this. Pretty girl, we all love you and we are very proud of you. We can't wait until the day we can just hug you. Quick update, Coley Jr. made the honor roll for 2nd grade. Big Coley finally got my job with Kevin Price. Just be patient with Jenny Reen. She gets it honest. See you soon. I see you. And then let's display the attachments. Okay. And the next one. Okay. So while you are in treatment, they sent you something for Mother's Day. Did you eventually leave rehab?
I did.
And according to the records, that was on July 6th. Mm-hmm. How did you leave?
Colin came and picked me up.
And when he came and picked you up, where did you go?
We went back to their house in Barrow County.
Now, at that point, did you move in to the Barrow County house?
I wouldn't call it moving in, but I did stay there for approximately 5 weeks.
Okay. And was it ever your intent to remain there permanently?
No, my intent was to find either a rehab or a sober living house close to them, like in Athens or something like that, and pursue that sort of living arrangement, or possibly my own apartment or something.
And at this point, you're still banned from Bexar County, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you moved to Bexar County, did you have a driver's license?
No.
Did you have a car
No,
with you in Bexar County?
No, I had no way of driving anywhere.
Did you have a cell phone?
No, although Colin gave me one of his old ones temporarily.
And was that a phone that Coley had been using?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And does Coley sometimes go by Boo Boo?
That's my nickname. I call him.
Okay. And when you moved back to Ben Hill later on, did you then get your own phone?
Yes, at some point. Yeah.
So while you were living there, what were you doing during the day? Obviously, you didn't have a car and couldn't drive, so.
So I basically just went back into the role that I'd always had, which was, first I just went room by room and started cleaning, organizing, because the house was a disaster. So I did, that was several weeks worth of work. I also enrolled the kids in school because it was about to be school time, and their enrollment had not been started. I also did a couple other things. I put together a budget for Colin to try and start using, and set up his insurance. He was about to become eligible to sign up for insurance through his work, so I did all that. And just hung out with the kids basically until they started school.
And does August 1st sound right for when insurance started for your family?
Yeah, it would have been the beginning of the month. Yeah.
And you mentioned you enrolled the kids in school. Did you enroll them under Colin's name? Yes, since they were living with him?
Yeah, I would have used my name because I was doing it. I think I was using his email and that sort of thing.
Okay. And so now at this point, I want to move to talking about Colt while he was in Bexar County. Did Colt have any friends that you were aware of in Bexar County?
Like at what time?
In this time frame of July to August of 2024?
No.
When was the last time he had any friends that you were aware of?
The last time he had friends that I was aware of was when we lived in Statham before we sold our farm and started moving around.
So that would have been early elementary school?
Yes. Yeah. He had a really good friend back then. And he, when we were in Fitzgerald, in the little bit of time that he spent physically at school, he had a couple of I guess you'd call them friends. Not friends to the point where they did anything like after school or anything, but he did really good in school, up through elementary school. Never had any kind of issues, no behavioral issues once he got into elementary school and middle school. I mean, he was fairly normal.
Until middle school?
Until, yeah.
And so was in Bear County, would he just stay at home for the most part?
Yes.
How was his mental health in that July, August time frame while you're living with them?
So his mental health, I think with me being there, he was, he had a lot more stretches of positivity. He always has liked just talking with me for long periods of time. His dad too, but you know, if his dad's not at the house, then he can't do that with him. So he was really happy that he had me there to basically talk my ear off for hours at a time. And but then, you know, he would go from happy and positive to, you know, anxiety, riddled with anxiety, easily agitated, very agitated, and could be aggressive. It was very obvious that he needed some professional help, especially with the anxiety, which I mean he had been struggling with anxiety for a while.
Had the anxiety gotten worse?
From what I saw during that 5 weeks, definitely.
And did he have panic attacks?
He had. I had never seen him have a full panic attack until I was staying with them during that time frame. And one night he had just a full blown panic.
We'll get you back to the trial of Colin Gray out of Barrow County, Georgia, in just a couple of minutes. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now is 10:34 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Want to get you over to the East Room in country's capital. President Trump is in a ceremony participating in the Trump Angel Family's Remembrance Ceremony. Let's dip into this on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Please sit down. Thank you. We gathered here today for a truly solemn occasion. Throughout this hall, I am joined by heartbroken Americans who have lost parents, siblings, children, grandchildren, and treasured loved ones to the scourge of illegal immigration led in by the past administration. Millions and millions of people from jails, millions and millions of people from countries that we don't want to know about. Drug dealers, murderers, 11,888 murderers were allowed into our country by the Biden administration. These are the angel families that we love, that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored, and I've seen it. When I first got involved with the angel families, I had a meeting. It was so sad. And they got up and spoke, and the media literally just turned off the cameras. They didn't want to hear them. That was my first glimpse as to what was happening. These are sick people that cover stories like that, or that don't cover them, which is worse. Everyone in this room not only suffered an infinite loss, they were the victims of politicians who put the comfort of foreign criminals before the safety of American citizens and American patriots. Their stories were censored and suppressed like maybe almost never before, so that the politicians could open our borders and allow our nation to be invaded. If we didn't win the election, our nation would right now be destroyed. But under the Trump administration, their suffering is forgotten no longer. In just a few moments, I officially sign a proclamation that I've been waiting to sign for a long time, including my first administration. There were so many different legal roadblocks, it was incredible. But we got it done, and I'm doing it today. February 22nd is going to be National Angel Family Day. Very important. So many incredible family members and friends, parents and children. On February 22nd, 2 years ago, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Hope Riley went out for a run on a college campus in Georgia. Laken was viciously attacked, brutally beaten and murdered by an illegal alien gang member who the last administration heartlessly released into our country. No problems. Let them in. They let in everybody. They didn't check anybody. They let in everybody. Among the first bills I signed into law after taking office last year was the Laken Riley Act. I'm so proud of it. To ensure illegal alien criminals are rapidly removed from the United States of America, if that's okay with the media. That bill has already been really playing a big role in the life of our country. It's resulted in over 21,000 illegal alien arrests, 21,000. We're joined this morning by Laken's parents, who I have gotten to know. These are incredible people. And I want to ask Laken's mother, Allison, to please come forward and say a few words, please. Hi, Allison. Hi, sweetie.
Well, this is unexpected, but I think that a lot of people feel like that President Trump is maybe different than the version I've gotten to know. And I just can't thank you enough. You have said from the beginning, literally, the day after this happened, that you would not forget about Laken. You weren't president at that time, and you have not forgotten. You have fought a fight that most people would not want to have to fight. Most people wouldn't. They would just say it's just easier not to do this. And President Trump you are doing a thankless job that most people just wouldn't do. And I just can't thank you enough. There are just not enough words to say. Because if you've lived the nightmare that we have lived, you understand the importance of the job that he's doing and securing our nation and fighting for our families. Because this could be any family. This happened to my family. This could be any one of your families. And Laken was the most responsible, hardworking, kind, selfless, beautiful Christian. And she wasn't somebody that put herself in bad positions. She didn't make bad choices. She was just a good girl. And she just wanted to go for a run that morning after she'd gotten up at 4 o'clock the morning before to decorate her roommate's door for her birthday. And she did everything for everyone else. She expected nothing in return. She just wanted to be a good friend and a good sister and a good daughter and a hardworking nurse. She was working so hard for. And I'm beyond blessed and thankful that you're honoring not just Laken, because she's one in a ton of people that have suffered at the hands of illegal immigrants. She's not the only one. And so thank you for honoring all of them, not just Laken. And we're just beyond grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Thank you very much. It's amazing, Allison. You have to go through this. Doesn't get that much easier, does it? Right? Even with time. It's been a while now, and it doesn't get that much easier. But I want to thank you for your incredible courage. We're all courageous in a sense. Everybody in this room is courageous, and we're willing to tell the story. And that I don't know why the news doesn't want to hear it. The Democrats don't want to hear it. The radical left, they don't want to hear it. What's not to hear? We want to stop murderers and criminals from coming into our country. I watched the mayor of Minneapolis. I watched these people saying, we want to protect murderers. I don't get it. Something's sick. They're sick. Can't have a country like that. So we appreciate the bravery of everybody in this room, actually. And Christy, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Tom in particular for, we have a border that's 100% closed now. 100%. So Laken's story is even more tragic because her death was completely preventable. This shouldn't have happened. Guy should never have been here. Not only should her killer not have been released into our country in the first place, but he was released a second time after being arrested in New York City. Here today is a great gentleman, the police officer who arrested that illegal alien, only to watch him be set free to kill. I mean, he was arrested and they let him go free. They knew he was trouble, big trouble. Many of them are like that. They release him knowing it's going to kill again, but they released him and set him free to kill Laken. So I'd like to have Ethan Carreri come up, please. He's a great, highly respected police officer, and you could explain what happened. Come on up. Thank you, Ethan.
Mr. President, it's an honor to be here today, and it's an honor to be speaking with you guys. My name is Ethan Carreri. I'm a police officer in Palm Beach County, Florida, and a former New York City police officer. While serving the New York City Police Department, I personally arrested Jose Ibarra for endangering the welfare of a child. A few months later, I saw his face again in the news after he viciously murdered Laken Riley. I did my job. I put him in custody. The system failed. No detainer, no accountability, no deportation, and an innocent American life was taken. If you enter our country illegally, there will be consequences under this administration. The American citizens must always come first. To Laken Riley's family, your loss should have never happened. We owe it to you and every American family to enforce our laws, secure our border, and protect innocent lives. Mr. President, thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you for all you've done for our country. Thank you.
All right, you are watching right now an Angel Family Remembrance ceremony taking place in the East Room there at the White House. We'll get back to it after this break on Live Impact News on WCNC+. At 10:47 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Of course, with this northeaster and affecting plenty and much of the Northeast, we have a lot of flights canceled. Check your flight to and from that area. We understand about 5,000 flights canceled across the country. Also, because of the unrest, a lot of areas in the Jalisco state, Guadalajara, Puerto in Mexico are also shut down. Flights to and from have been canceled over the weekend. A major drug cartel leader was killed, and that erupted in a lot of chaos, and cartel members were lighting things on fire, targeting a lot of areas, and so some violence there as well that we're keeping on top of. But want to get you out to Rhode Island right now. This is a live press conference happening with emergency personnel, a weather briefing for you on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We listen in.
The initial thing that customers will see when they see a number on there probably will be 3 days out or thereabouts. Just understand that's our first initial system-wide assessment. That doesn't mean your individual power, that means system-wide. And then as we start getting out to individual streets, circuits level, then we'll repopulate with individual information. So just understand that that number will be a shocking sort of deadline up front in terms of several days. It will come back down as we get out and are able to do the assessment and to know who's going to be on within a few hours or who's going to be on within a few days. And that will continue to change. So if you've signed up for our outage alerts, you'll get updates on that. Otherwise, you can check that out on the outage map and keep up with the restoration times.
You said the new electric meters automatically trigger when there is an outage.
Correct.
Does that help get it on sooner? Does that make a difference for restoration?
It certainly helps us avoid having to roll trucks in certain instances to be able to get out and to confirm that there is an outage in an individual residence, and we know for the entire street, for example, that we're getting pinged, that we know that entire circuit's down immediately. So it helps us with that initial assessment, and in some instances it will help us with restoration being a little quicker, but it's largely going to be repairing the damage, and most of that's going to be vegetation related, trees falling, in some instances poles or wires falling because of the weight of the snow, and so until we get a full assessment of the damage, we won't be able to know exactly what that restoration is going to look like.
Thank you. Hey, Director, one last question.
Sure.
We've got some viewers asking, what's that noise they're hearing in the background in here? Of course, it died down right now, but that whistling and hissing we've been hearing, you want to address that for them?
That would be the wind.
How strong
Okay.
is it?
Yeah. So it's blowing 60, 65, and in some cases 70 down by the coast and out on Block Island. We've been in very close contact with the island. We never forget them. But that would be the wind making that noise. And the last thing I'll say, because everybody's kind of covered it, is, what does it look like? Right now, we're just trying to deal with public safety, right? We just want everybody to be safe, and we want to be able to respond to any incidents that require public safety. So we'll be addressing those as we go out through the day.
Yep.
Just out of curiosity, one of the other things that stood out to me is the crews coming in from Pennsylvania across the board. How many crews and assistance can we expect coming in from other states in particular?
So for us, we've pulled in crews, a lot of contract crews from here in the state and others in the region. Obviously, this is a region-wide impact, so the other utilities have been doing the same. So most of the folks at this point that we've secured that are already here are those who could have gotten here, within a day's drive. So they're mostly from within the New England area. A lot of them are from here in Rhode Island, so they're external crews that we work with regularly. As I said, we've gotten calls actually from New Jersey and other places asking if we could send crews, and obviously the answer to that is no. But we're benefited by being able to get some of our sister utilities. They didn't get hit as hard in Pennsylvania as they thought they might in terms of outages, so they'll be able to free up some crews hopefully tomorrow to get up here to help with the restoration.
We're good. Thank you, everybody, and thanks for the media coverage today. Very important information that we just shared. Let's stay safe and let's make sure that we cooperate in a way that.
All right, you were watching live a weather briefing up there in Rhode Island. We remember these, not too long ago, right, with our own wintry weather weekend. So we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now is 10:54 in Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Want to get you back out to the Angel Remembrance Family Ceremony. This is in the East Room of the White House with a live event taking place on Live Impact News.
Remember, you all, children were there fishing with their friends, and they just kept shooting. You could hear the bullets just whizzing past you. Have yet senior returned fire with this weapon, and I grabbed the AR that Harvey had attempted to defend us with, and I returned fire as well. Had we not fired back, they would have killed everyone there, including the children, so that there wouldn't be any witnesses. And they killed an amazing man, a loving and honorable dad and husband. Thank God we have you in office. Without you, America and the world would not know the consequences of open borders. Thank you for restoring law and order. Thank you for acknowledging us, the Angel families. Every day I think of you and the heavy weight of a nation that you carry with you. I can't imagine what it must be like to wake up every morning, work so diligently amid attacks and resistance from the left, to deal with the craziness, the fraud, and the swamp. But you get it done day in and day out, all while finding solutions to making America great again. You absolutely amaze me. Please know that we see it, and we, the masses, your constituents, are behind you 100%. When you were elected the first time, for the first term as president, I remember saying to my boss, this is exactly what this country needed, a businessman. You did an outstanding job then, and although you were cheated out of the second term, by the way, you won that election as well, and we know it. I knew the third term was going to be epic, and here we are, mega. Before I end this, I have to share a sweet story with you about my daddy. He absolutely hated the way people treated you and attacked you. On your third run for office, he said to me, "Mijita," which means my little daughter in Spanish, "can you check to see if I'm up to date and still registered to vote? We need to make sure President Trump gets into office." I said, "Of course, Daddy." And I did, and I checked, and he was registered to vote. We lost a great man, April the 3rd of 2025, and that would be my daddy. Again.
All right, that's going to do it for this morning edition of Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, coming up on 11 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Charlotte Today is up next.